Okay. Good morning, good evening, depends where you are. I'm Irene Wong, and I'm the host for Everything Ballroom YouTube channel. And I'm the owner of a ballroom dance shop called Everything Ballroom. I'm also a pro-am dancer for 17 years. I create this channel because I really want to share the joys and benefit of ballroom dancing for everyone. And a lot of people don't know about this fascinating industry. I also want to share with you about it. So, I hope you like what we do and give us some thoughts and follow our channel, Everything Ballroom. Today, our segment is called Ask the Judge. And we can all learn from those experience with judge what they're looking for so we can be better in the competitive dance sport. And and I'm so excited to invite a legend of this, someone that is a legend in the ballroom dance world. He has been in the business for 56 years. Can you imagine? He is NDCA and WDC judges, chairman for judges many times in many of the events. And he also is an instructor, a choreographer, and used to own four dance competitions. And I'm so grateful he actually spent time with us and to share his experience. Without further ado, let me invite our guest, Larry Dean. Yay! Welcome. Larry, you're mute. Can you unmute yourself
Probably could.
in the computer?
Can you hear me
Oh,
now?
yes, perfect.
First of all, thank you so much for the invite. I love being here and talking with both of you and everyone else that's viewing.
Great. Thank you so much. Before we started, maybe you can share a little bit about you and share with the audience. Most people know you already, Judge I explained, but share some fun fact that people don't know about you.
Oh my goodness, I can't tell you everything, but I would say that probably they don't know that before I got into dance business, I was designing submersibles, little yellow submarines, and in Florida, in Riviera Beach, Florida, and I was in the service. Most people know my service career also, and now I've been in ballroom dancing for quite some time. So that's basically it. The last 56 years of organizing, judging, dancing, coaching, competing, everything, and even politics and lobbying for the dance industry.
Wonderful. I also just learned that you met your lovely wife in the dance floor, and then you guys are have been married for 43 years.
Yes, we're very, very happy, and it was let's say hopefully another 43.
Yes, that's the power of ballroom dancing. So look at you, 56 years later, you're so still power going on. Thank you so much for your time. So now I'm asking as a judge, like a poem dancers like me, always wondering what you look at, when you're judging a dancer and the dance floor.
There's a lot of things. The first thing I noticed right off the timing and being sure in your footwork because and staying on rhythm is very, very important. Also, your carriage and your personality, how you express yourself, and how you dance with your partnership, and also dancing with your partner, so that you both uh, not only dance to the audience but you dance with each other. And you show that. There's some of the things. Now,
So
there's a lot of other things technically, but that's the thing that I look for mostly.
So sounds like to me is you are not a two footwork person because there's another question is that, I'm more on the top, the performing, so but my footwork is not that good. So you're more the performing timing is important, but you're not looking at the foot as much versus the overall performance kind of judge, right?
Yes.
So this is good. So because some people, I know that some judges really just focus on your footwork. That's great to know. No, I know. I see you. What it's benefit to me.
Well, it is important.
So
It definitely is important to see the footwork because I think, when people first get in a dance business and they want to socially learn to dance instead of them being competitive, which we convince them to do down the line, is like they want to do fancy steps because they see this out. And but before you do any of that, you have to learn the good, solid, basic dancing that you're not off balance and you feel what you're doing and you're into the floor correctly. So
that's so much my experience as well, right? I danced for 17 years before I'm just focused on the top. When I getting higher level, actually now I'm going back to the
yes.
basic box step, the basic rumble walk. So exactly right. In order to get above the level, you still need to have a good foundation. So now I'm
Yes.
going back to basic.
Yes, definitely.
So this is great. So another question, so when the judge, we are females, right? Win the scholarships.
Yes.
There's gentlemen, there's a lady on the dance floor. So what you looking for from a lady and from a man to depends to determine who dance better because you judge lady and man all in a dance floor. How do you judge them differently?
Well, I think first of all, the man has to lead, and the lady has to follow their partners. And I think I look for again their basic footwork, their ability to move across the floor. I think in the man's part that I have to look for is his craftsmanship, that he's floor craft. That he knows how to dance. If he gets caught in a corner somewhere, how to get out of it instead of bumping into someone or pushing himself through. And of course, the lady, that's important for the gentleman teacher, your partner, to do that, to keep you out of, because and sometimes the ladies in the back lead can catch, in the view of their eye, can catch somebody coming close to you and kind of nudge the teacher off. So those are the points that I would look at. But I think the upper carriage and the way you present yourself in dancing, and of course being on time for sure, would be the things that equally you both would be judged.
So for you, and when I asked some judges, they said they give men, if they're similar, they give the gentleman a little bit benefit of doubt or a little bit benefit because the gentleman need to lead and have more things to worry about. So a couple judges I asked, they do think that they will give the benefit to the gentleman. Will you do that as well?
I would if they're both dancing equally good. Then yes, I would probably, if the gentleman would have a little bit of an edge, but not always. But that's something that again he has to lead, and he has to make sure that he's taking his partner with him and dancing well with her.
Good. So you're very fair and then say, okay, how you guys doing in the overall dancing, your timing, all put into consideration is trying to do it in a more way.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Great. So now I'm thinking about you have been in the dance world for 56 years. And what are the changes you see in the ballroom industry when you dancing compared to nowadays?
Well, everything improves, as you know, in time and youth, and I think the quickness, the fashion has changed quite a bit. As you're in that, so you know that, and it's become some youthful because when I started in the industry, it was if you're doing 70, 75, 80-year-old students that was dancing and dancing well, you would not see that many younger couples or younger people in the industry. I think when they started talking about maybe getting in the Olympics, that changed things where they with youth came in. And of course, when TV came along and Dancing with the Stars and all these, then that changed everything. And it made people not only want to learn to social dance, but also learn to compete. They got that competitive spirit that they want to get out there and kick somebody's butt, right? But and that's all good for our industry, and that helped improve. Like my wife and I were organizing 4 dance competitions a year, and that improved our attendance to people wanting to come and dance at the competitions. And of course, the quality of dancing did definitely improve from all the knowledge that's changed and all the good coaches and teachers has been out for many, many years.
Okay, that's just pretty much I can see it's, a continuous improvement and then more competition, younger age, that's what you see. That's the big changes, right?
Oh, yes.
Great. So another very pointy question is that some competitors, actually, I hear many of them when I was there, feeling judges are very political and judge people based on who dance more, and who does coaching lesson and those kind of things. So the people that have money get ahead, the people who don't have less money will not be have the benefit. What is your opinion on this?
I don't think it's necessarily so in every case. There is some people that have money that have become very good dancers, and there's people that don't have that much money that also has had that opportunity. I would say sometimes I could see where the audience or the participants would think it's political to some extent of going, like if you're. Well, first of all, I feel like there should be judges and there should be coaches. I don't think it should be both. I've always felt that, but that's the way the business goes. I guess if you're being coached by someone, then you're going to be judged by that same person that might favor you over someone else. So that someday along the way that might change somewhat. But as far as I think when people dance a whole lot of dances, that doesn't mean. I mean, that's good money for the organizer coming in. Doesn't mean the better dancers are going to get. The only way they're going to win those awards is by getting more points. And they dance more, so they got more points. So but I think you should have divisions where people that are quality and quantity of the style dance be judged both ways, and you'd have a award for both. That way, if somebody came and danced 200 or 300 entries, wouldn't beat somebody that danced 30 entries but danced quality dancing. Correct?
Right. So you have one point that mentioned you actually advocate judge, only judge, coach, only coach. The role of these two shouldn't be crossed. I think that is such a good thing. Do you think that will ever happen? And if it will happen, what it takes to make it happen as a competitor? And we really would love to see this happening because that give us confidence. There's no bias happening in the dance floor, right? So where you think that will make it happen? How to make it happen?
I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but or our lifetime. But I do feel that somewhere along the way that would be brought up and it's probably what stopped us getting in the Olympics. That's a possibility that could have been that way, that type of judging, because again, it's difficult when you stand on the floor as a judge and you see your students dancing that you coach. Sometimes it'll be harder because I always felt like back in the days when organizers could also dance in competitions and judge that competition. You're being judged by your peers, and a lot of times they like to mark you lower just to show. I don't know that there are tough judges. Maybe, who knows? I've been in that situation where I felt my students should have maybe earned a higher level or placement of dance when because being a judge myself. But as far as it happening, who knows? But it would be an ideal situation, I think, for the ballroom industry or the dance sport industry, we should say now.
That is so profound. I didn't even know before you can is organizer. Now it's a rule, almost like I'm not sure it's a rule or it is a practice. If you run the event, you don't judge and you don't dance in your own event. That make a lot of sense. It's more like a common sense. And I didn't know it happened before.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So
back in the day, yes, definitely. You could take your students to competitions and dance and be judged by the judges on your panel. Then but that was a good rule to be made afterwards. It really was. But in those days, we were looking to get business in, and the rules were a little loose. They're tightened up quite a bit now.
So I think that does give me hope, right? Because like I didn't know right now, we know it makes sense what you guys do, even though you might have more entries, but there is negative in the whole thing. And the same as the judges and coaches. But of course, judge make a lot less money. That's the only questions, right? Coaches make a lot more. If that is the case, who's going to judge? Maybe the people that absolutely are going to retire. But the coaches doesn't retire as much. So that could be a little bit more challenge, you think?
Oh, yes, that would be. Yes, definitely. 'Cause like you say, coaching is teaching and coaching more money than going and judging competitions. We all learn that once we get on the field of judging. Organizers have so much money to spend, so they have to keep tight in some situations, and some of that is we've always tried to be in our competition to set the kind of the rule to maybe do a little more. Even back in the days when we used to have a lot of pro-am in Florida, when we started our competitions, we would give more purses out for the pros so they would be able to afford to buy your costumes and to buy coaching and so forth. They just like with the students, they have to do that to maintain their uh, ability to dance and teach well and coach well.
Yeah, I think, from what I hear is not going to happen soon, but hopefully maybe they adjust. Olympic maybe is a good thing. And besides the prestige, and probably need to raise the income, though, for judges in order to, get to where you are. That's why I can understand why you say may not be soon. But there's a hope with Olympic ahead. And I really do see, important to be there. Another question I want to ask you, which is it's quite political. Hopefully, because you have been in the industry for a long time, there's two federations right now in the dance world, right? So
Yes.
NDCA, USA Dance, what is it,
Yeah. World
WWSA?
Dance Council and the National Dance Council. Yes. And
Yes, World Dance Council, WDC, and then, and now my understanding you are in the dance world, which is going to help me to clarify this. The judges cannot be doing in both dance competition, and the rules are very different, and the pay is very different. How could it benefit for dancers like us? And it could be what do you see is a best scenario? Like what you mentioned that the judge and coach need to be separate. That is ideal, right? So how do you see these federation will be benefit in an ideal situation? And hopefully we can all get to the ideal, even though it may take time.
yes, well, one time I believe that the amateur body and the professional bodies were joined together, and then somewhat of a fallout. I used to be the first vice president of the National Dance Council, so I was back in the day where some of those things happened. I would like to see it unified, but there's room for both. So then I can see their point to it. There's room for both of them to have their following and have their competitions and their rules. And as long as that happens and everyone's happy, that's good. So I got out of the politics because of a lot of those things that do happen, and I got a lot of gray hair from being in politics. And I did my duty when I was there, and I got out of it. I'm very happy that I am now. And because everyone that gets in this dance world, in this business, wants to be first a dancer. They get there because they love dancing, they love music, they want to do that. And then these politics starts taking an effect. It takes some of the fun away. So I'm now so happy that I'm not in the political part of it. I hope I answered your question correctly, but and I was
There's
just
no correct or wrong, right? I trust you more because you are out looking back and you have so much experience. That's why I'm trying to get a more, to me, is more honest answer in that sense. So that's why I'm so excited for this call and trying to get your perspective to it, right? So, any suggestions, from your experience to make it a better way, because for me as a dancer I really didn't know a lot, and some of this thing is just want to clear up, and how we can, I'm passionate about dancing and in the industry, how can we make it better is always a questions, and that I'm asking.
I think working together, most of all, there's things that needs to be changed, and I think eventually, with the right people involved in that, it will come to us, and it will make it a lot better. I think when you're another thing with these organizations, I would say maybe when people have the knowledge, or they have retired, or they finished dancing, they have nothing to gain from it. They might be a little better in the political field doing our governing of the ballroom industry then, instead of the ones that have something to gain from it now. Yes.
It's such a wise conversation. Maybe that will be the judge and coach starting to see that trends going out, and then the judge just focus on the judging.
Yes.
The coach is still in the active role on that. So we are hope there's one day and all this will happen, and I'm hopeful, I have can see it in my lifetime. So this is all good. Okay, so we as a dancer, right? Always there are some people that don't have limited resources, but most of us, is not coming born with the
I
golden
got it.
spoon, and we have limited resources.
Yes.
Where do you think we should put our money on? For example, should I take more lesson? Do we need to do more competition? Buy more costumes so look good? What is the priority? What do you think as a dancer, how we should smart with our money that we want to
Okay.
spend?
All right. Well, there all these things are important to dancers because, again, taking the lessons, whether you want to socially be a good dancer, it's up to the individual. Some don't want to compete. I've had students that will not compete and they want to just socially learn, have fun. So they'll put their money into the lessons. So if they have less money, they even did group classes, but private lessons always help better than the group classes, because you get that individual training. And also, as far as dress, I guess if I was going to list all of them, I would say costume probably would be, if you don't if you're not going to dance, you don't need costumes. But if you're going to take dance lessons, you need costumes, and either whether, especially competitive. If you're going to go out and competitive, that's very important that you look good, and you put your money in that part of it too. I hope that answered. I see what you mean, because you have certain resources, but there's different answers for different individuals of what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, just assuming I'm competing. I'm a competitor dancer, right? It's so I'm gonna go compete.
Yes.
So I have money. Okay, there's uh basically some teacher basically said the more you go out for competition, the more you have experience for crafts and get the judges to see you and exposure all this. And there's money, then I don't have enough money to do as much of lesson. How do I balance this? And what do you think the decision making process should be?
As far as, if you're, like you say, there's some people that dance a lot. Like you say, it is important to be seen and go into the places you do, and all, and going to different judges and be in front of different individuals that are judging you. But I would, as far as you can only do a limit to what you have. You can only do so much. But it's very important to keep this in mind, that first of all, dancing foremost, you want to be a good dancer. You want to make sure that you're coaching or you're taking lessons to become that good dancer. And then you can dress yourself to the point where you look good. I think if you had fancy dressing on the floor and you did a spin and tripped or fell off balance, that's not going to look good, no matter what kind of uniform or dress or cat suit or whatever you have that you're wearing, or tails. Yeah.
Go back to the basics.
Yes.
So, like what we say, so make sure we spend the money in lesson
Learning.
teaching, be a good dancer before we go really do compete, unless we have extra resources. We can do both. Ideally, everything is good, but relatively be a good dancer first
Yes,
in
very
order to good
right.
a good.
Yes, Irene.
I
Yes.
love that is pretty much the stages, right? So thank you so much. And if you have one piece of advice for dancers, besides what we talked about, what would it be that you think?
Oh, to any type of dancer, right? You say
Competitive dancer.
a competitive dancer, yes. Okay, I think I learned this by when we started doing at the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach. We used to give movie stars awards called the Legends of Dance, like Marge Champion, Sid Cerise, Gene Nelson, Francois Zoni, and even our own dancers like Larry Silvers and Pierre Dulaine and Pierre Allaire, Linda Dean. There's so many I could mention. I think when you're, first of all, when you're I'd like to say they they taught us to dance with each other because they did a lot of one takes in those movies, and we all watched those old movies and want to become dancers and become like them, the Fred Astaire's and the Ginger Rogers and the Sid Cerises and the Marge Champions, And I think if you're just going to dance with each other. That's what they always told us. That uh, you're going to entertain the audience as you dance because you're they're cheering for you, but you also want to dance to each other kind of romantically and be attuned to either the togetherness when you dance. That would be my thing that I would probably push more than anything.
Feel feeling of the
Yes,
dancing
exactly.
and connected, with the dancing. And whatever competition dancers like us, we always have imagination what we will be look like and just be that one when we on the dance floor. That's
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm going to open the mic for people to ask questions. Are you okay?
Yes. Yes.
So I see Ellie raise hands and yeah, come on in.
Hey, Larry.
Hi, Ellie.
Hey, I have a question. So
Oh,
I actually I remember I danced in one of your events, and
yes.
then you sold your event.
Yes.
So at one point you have four events. So why did you sell your events?
I think I just was, I wasn't getting tired or wanted to retire or anything because my wife and I worked them quite often out of all those years of running competitions. And it took a lot of our time and energy. And suddenly I thought, okay, we don't need four. We used to do the Triple Crown, then we started a Crown Jewel and Dance Board. We had the four of them. And we had an offer to and plus of being competitive, it became very saturated, the dance industry. So you're always out on the limb. You got the hotels, and that was another thing that made us kind of feel the point that the hotels were changing with their banquet costs and their rooms are rising. And in a day when we used to do it, it was pretty reasonable where you could make money. And now, I guess, with everybody dancing, a lot of entries that helped bring it in, but it still was a lot of expense to do that. So when somebody came to me and wanted to buy one, I said, okay. And that was the first one. I think it was the Southeastern that it was the Crown Jewel of Danceport. And then the Southeastern. And I thought, well, I'll keep a couple. That would be good. So, I'm not that old where I want to stop. But then other people coming around and saying, hey, why don't you sell us this and that? And it just happened. It happened just all of a sudden. All four were gone, and and we were very happy with the people that we turned them over to. And now I go coach and judge. My wife is totally retired. She loves the fact of being a homebody now, as she was out there for 42 years being a great hostess, as everybody in the industry knew. And I go out and I do some chairman jobs and some judging, and I'm very happy with that. So I'm like, I think, Irene, like you said, I'm a kind of semi-retired, a little bit so I do a little bit, but then I enjoy life now too. But hey, ballroom dancing's been, as they used to say, been very, very good for me.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
I can. Thank you, Ali. So I add on that questions for dancers now. There's so many competition, even when I joined 17 years ago, it's not that many, but now it's almost every weekend is a competition. How, as competitive dancers, choose what do you recommend us to gauge our um, money and where to go? Any recommendation?
Well, I think that there's a lot of options. There's the 1 day events and there's the multi events. In my day, it was mostly multi events because I enjoyed the fact that we had time to go enjoy the hotel and the dancing and the people, and also to get to rest and see the shows at night and not have to dance in the evening and so forth. But it's all to do with your wallet too, because if you can afford to go to 1 days and dance all those dances in 1 day, which I think is very tough to do, but they do, and it's financially supporting them good. But if you have the finances where you want to go and enjoy the weekend in the area, the hotel and so forth, then you should, go to the multis and the championships of those. And there's quite a bit. I know that in the days when we first ran our events, they were 19 championships in North America, and we had 3 of them. So you can imagine now hundreds of events going on in 3 or 4 weeks. So it's for the organizers, it's tough, but you have to work the best you can to get the people to come and participate at your events.
For our competitive dancers, right now, how I choose, I normally just pick some big events that I go to prove myself, because I have been dancing for a long time. And then right before I do a practice run, so I go to the local, the one to practice my folk craft, and at least those are more less money. And then instead of the big events, more money. That's how I pick my events. And of course, with my teacher, where they go, I can share the expenses with my fellow competitors,
Yes.
fellow, dance friends, and then that's how I do it. But I just feel it's more and more competitions, and actually is it harder and harder to decide uh,
Yes.
where to go.
But you get choices. That's a good. At least you have plenty of choices. And I would say definitely, if local, support your local events because you're there and you don't have to take that expense of traveling and so forth. But then if you, like you say, you pick a few of the majors that you want to go to and dance and be seen, that's good too. Yeah, a little kind of stir it up a little bit, in both ways that you could go and support the larger comps and then also do your locals with your fellow students.
That is such a great idea. Plus, another one my friends always do is to um, travel. If you want to go a place that you haven't been, and then that will be a side trip. I saw a lot of side trips. I myself did one. So where we go for competition, and then, oh, that's the place I want to go and enjoy Puerto Rico, or now they're going globally, to travel. I think that's also another thing that, I think for people to think about when they choose their competitions. So
Exactly, and
that's
especially for the organizers. One word is location, location, location.
it's almost like real estate. So when we
Mhm.
talked about real estate, location, 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 I come back to it. Thank you, Larry, for sharing your great wisdoms, and very, very grateful for your
All
time.
right.
And I
Thank you
saw
so
people
much for the
coming
invite.
in, but I don't see you have uh voices available. So I will not open the mic for you guys. And thank you for you. Thank you so much, Larry, for your time.
It's been my
Again,
pleasure. Yes.
thank you. So again, this is Everything Ballroom YouTube channel, and I'm Irene Wong, your host. And the next guest, we really want to share a lot of experience. Our next guest will be Andrea Stefano, and he is a WDC and WDSF judge, a studio owner, professional dancer and instructor. He also owns hotels and restaurants. I can't wait to talk to him about how he judged and how he managed to run business, judging and dancing so much. So we can all learn from these multitask, multi-incomes experts. So the interview will be on next Thursday, August 29th and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to mark and join us. And thank you and give us thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.